Okay, we can make a start. So welcome everybody tonight. Amazing that you're here on this hot day. And my name's Kathi, and tonight, since death is going to be, it was said to be the most important moment of our life. Closer. Just interrupted a crucial sentence. Since death, is said to be the most important moment of our life, that's our topic for tonight, along with some other stuff. So, and more specifically, what's crucial at that moment of our death is the state of our mind. So that's because it will precipitate where we end up in the next life. Whatever primary mind that we have at that moment is significant because like I said, it propels us. It's the primary beginning of our destination and into the next life. And it's okay if you don't believe in reincarnation, because this is all applicable to the welfare of this life as well. But when we die, the only thing we take with us is our karma, the imprints on our mind. And rebirth or not, everything connected with this life we have to let go of. So it's probably not a subject that we think about every day, although in Buddhism probably a lot of us do. But it's really pivotal to both the quality of our life now and when we get to the end of it. So, because we have to let go of everything at death, it's good to get used to letting go of everything in our life, during our life, so it doesn't come as a shock. And so we're not, so it's about letting go of attachments, which in Buddhism is called transforming the mind of attachment. And it's one of the main ones that we focus on in Buddhism. So let's start with a meditation and relax into conducive posture. Which is generally the straight back. But more than that, to be perfectly comfortable. Sometimes, because of the way our subtle channels align, even a straight back is not essential because it's an individual thing. So you get used to what is most conducive for your focus. So let's surrender all the tension. Let it go. Relinquish the past and let go of pondering the future. You might like to take a deep breath or two. Or just simply focus on the gentle flow of the breath to fully centre our attention. If you notice any thoughts arising, you can imagine letting them go as if they're floating by on a tranquil river. So focusing on the breath. Allow any distractions to not be the focal point. And as your focus deepens, you can merge your awareness with the breath and become one with the breath. Non-dual. No longer observing the breath, but being with it. And now change your focus from the breath to the awareness of clarity and stillness. The clarity and stillness of awareness itself. If you can't tune into that, just imagine it, your whole being filled with calm and lucid awareness. Ultimately, there is nothing to be attained or perfected. We just loosen the layers obscuring our natural state. Imagine all the clouds of obscuring thoughts and conditioning dissolve away. And then rest in that bare awareness, simply being. Now rest your awareness in the feeling that immediately arises at the prospect of imminent death. Physiologically, maybe you go into a bit of a meltdown. If you really consider you're going to die very soon. Imagine the doctor telling you that you've got terminal illness. Thoughts may start racing. What's going to happen to me? My children, my partner, my parents. A kind of deep dread comes over you. We could be afraid of the potential physical pain of dying. Could start thinking about that. Or the unbearable pain of leaving our close loved ones. And the pain of their pain. Amidst all of this, focus your attention on the most prominent feeling in your awareness. If you can really put yourself in that place of dying, the way the feeling is manifesting physically and emotionally within you. The movie you are going to watch that night has no significance. The new dress, your car, so the bodily sensation could be constriction in the heart, nausea in the gut, nervous trembling, shock to the system, or whatever feeling may be arising. Bring your awareness to merge with that feeling. It is in the resistance to what is that the suffering arises. If you release the pain, you release the pain. To release the pain, you focus on that pain. totally merge with it. And if you penetrate that feeling with your mind, you may cut through it and experience the bare stillness of that deep awareness that's always there. In life and in death. So rest again in that deep, calm space, beyond all the conceptual overlay of living or dying. All right, we'll finish the meditation there. So just to reiterate what I said before, that most significant moment, the last moment of life, in terms of rebirth, it depends on the quality of that mind state where we'll end up in the next life. And that could even mean many lives to come, because you could end up with, if you had a heavy mind state at death, you could end up in an unfortunate experience in the next life where it's very difficult to generate positive mind states, and therefore that could carry through for many to come. So it's a daunting suggestion, but we really we really only have now to sort out our happiness, to get to a point where we can really nail that. And I think when we say now, we really mean now, because it's so easy to not end up dealing with where we're at and carrying a lot of negative mind states along with us for far too long, and end up perhaps dying anyway, unexpectedly, with all this weight. So it's really about now. Like in Buddhism, it's, there's a lot of emphasis on non-procrastination, and really there's a very potent reason why. And so whatever acts of body, speech and mind that we can create in a positive frame of mind is going to be what it's all about. And also, that's going to be how our future lives benefit, but also, of course, now, this life. So regardless of rebirth. And there's, even with insignificant actions, I've got a quote from, from a sutra of the Buddha, which is like the direct teaching of the Buddha. It's just a verse. The performance of even a tiny meritorious action will, in the next world, bring great joy and accomplish great purposes, like seeds producing an abundant harvest. And this is about the increasing aspect of karma, which is something that we might not be aware of or even think of that often. But it's really amazing, because anything we do, the tiniest, flicker of a smile to someone that might, on one level it might brighten their day for a couple of seconds, but in how that will impact our mind because of this increasing aspect of karma, it's quite monumental. Even these insignificant little trivial acts and thoughts, so body, speech and mind, so our thoughts are really important. And equally, negative ones increase as well. So being aware of that is also really important. And also depends on who we're interacting with, for instance. So there's what's called potent objects. I think it's called potent objects, powerful objects, where such as those that we really respect, who have amazing qualities, our spiritual teachers, the enlightened beings, bodhisattvas, and our parents. So, our parents, even just giving us this life, are incredibly powerful figures karmically. And I mean, if you consider how many meals Mum made for us, you know, we didn't have to pay for, you know, like we take that for granted, but it's quite, as you know, it's quite phenomenal, the energy and the input that they gave us. And yeah, it's like something really powerful when we interact with our parents, and you can feel it too if you think back times where you might have been, like for me, you know, thinking back where I was overly charged negatively with them. Yeah, I still remember that. It's but particularly Bodhisattvas, I don't know if you know that term, most of you probably do. So they are practitioners who have the aspiration, the highest aspiration to achieve, you know, their full potential solely to benefit others. So that amazing attitude is something that we respect, and if we, you know, to dishonour that in a way by perhaps like abusing them or whatever it might be. I actually had an experience of that myself, where, because what they say is that if you do that, your positive energy or merit will be destroyed, so eons of positive merit will be just eliminated from your mind. And I actually experienced that happening, and it was something like indescribable. I've never experienced anything like it before or since, and it was a horrible, horrible experience. It was like a complete vacuum descended over me, like I was empty of energy, but it wasn't like physical. I wasn't feeling drained or anything, but I was so like void of anything positive. It was only happened, like lasted for a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes or something, because I immediately was remorseful, and I had been on the phone to someone, and I texted them an apology and, you know, told them how I was feeling. But I realised, wow, that person must have been someone special, because that has never happened to me before with anyone else, and I've done plenty of, you know, like, not plenty, but, you know, I've done worse to other people. So it was like, because we don't know who are special people. We don't know who a bodhisattva might be unless we're clairvoyant. So in the teachings we're reminded to not be selective in the way we relate to people, because anyone could be quite special, and it really affects our mind. So, in terms of the order of, or in which karma ripens, they say that these most serious, powerful, intense karmas, like what I was just talking about, good or bad, will ripen first, and then the ones that we create at the time of death. So say like in this life, when we died in the previous life, that mind state is the second most powerful thing to ripen in this life and be the conditions of this life. Then after that, the results of karmic actions that we're most familiar with, that we spend most of our time doing, they will be next in line to ripen, to manifest in our life. And then after that, it's the chronological order in which we did anything from beginningless time till now. So, yeah, it just goes along in whatever we created first. So, getting back to how we take care of our positive energy, apart from that, we, like all, just any acts of body, speech and mind, maintaining that awareness of how we're interacting with others, but also letting go of disturbing mind states where we don't want to, like I was saying before, have this backlog of weight where we haven't addressed things, which also creates sets the scene for when we relate to others to have difficult interactions, because we're maybe like on the verge of anger, or because we haven't dealt with it, or we've sort of suppressed it, and so it's just sitting there ready to explode, potentially. I mean, I'm not saying we all have that, but it's just something to keep in mind. And so in this way we can ensure that the karma we travel with into the next life is as beneficial as possible. So what is karma? I took one quote which said, "It's the result of the choices we make every moment of every day." So it's defined as the mental urge. Often you see it translated as intention, but actually it's the urge to think, do or say something. And it could be referred to as impulsive or compulsive actions. Body, speech and mind. Another quote, "We generate karma the moment we perceive mental objects as truly existent entities." So that's a really quite complex statement. I'm going to read you a bit of something to clarify that. This is from Tulku Dondup, whose great master recently passed away. "Buddhist teachings say that the world is a creation of the mind. But how, we may ask, can our mind create a solid mountain in front of us? It's not saying that the mind created the mountain. It is the concept of the mountain that the mind created. If there is no mind, then whether there is a mountain there or not, the idea, name or thought of the mountain's existence or non-existence would not even come up. So the idea and designation of mountain, as in the label, is a fabrication of the mind." So what it's saying is, we have this mound of dirt or rock or whatever, and we have called it mountain. But it appears as if the mountain is a mountain in and of itself, there, in front of us. But it's actually That's the illusion, because it's actually dependent on our mind, like as in the concept, like we talked about. So another quote, our next life is nothing but the effects of our karmic tendencies that will materialise in our perception. So this is another complex one. So materialise in our perception has different levels of meaning. So ultimately it's referring to the illusory appearances of this life, such as the mountain example. But on a conventional level, materialise in our perception refers to how our karmic imprints will ripen in the next life. So our physical appearance, our mental abilities, the family we're born into, our health or illness, our wealth or poverty, all that is what he means by materialise in our perception. Mind you, nothing's set in stone. We can change all of this. We can transform our situation. We can change our circumstances and increase our abilities, get healthier, bring about more conducive financial conditions. And one of the ways we can improve our situation is through purifying our mind of particularly the karma that has brought on a debilitating or difficult situation. And that is pretty much the same as saying generating positive energy. It's like two sides of the same coin. So this is quite technical. Is there any questions? Okay. So in terms of purifying, we can purify anything. I think I mentioned that in previous sessions. And there's an interesting tradition in Buddhism regarding life-threatening hindrances, where we can purify the threat of untimely death. And why they see like that is because the understanding is that we have this natural lifespan that is predetermined when we're born, or specifically when we die from the previous life, I think. And we have this set length of life. However, it can be shortened due to 3 different factors, and they are exhaustion of life energy, depletion of merit, and ripening of negative karma. And these 3 aspects initiate a weakness, or like a weak link, a kind of potential but not necessarily definite exhaustion of the sustained energy. But it's only if all 3 of those aspects are present. And so the 3 again is like the first one's the weak points in our life, where our life's energy is threatened. And Buddhism studies within the sciences the astrology, so planetary influences is what they're talking about here. And the second one is not enough positive energy to sustain life. And the third one is the ripening effect of negative karma, destructive actions, like of body, speech and mind. So, paraphrasing a commentary by Glenn Mullen on one of the seventh Dalai Lama's teachings, he says the meaning is of this that the negative karmic propensities create a danger point in our lives, a weak link, and then by manifesting through the active delusional mind states, untimely death can occur. So basically what this means is that, like I was saying before, it's good to deal with whatever disturbing mind states that arise before we suppress them or act on them detrimentally. So it's just reinforcing when we think of these, this potential shortening of our life. You know, it's like we have no, usually feel like we have no kind of control over our lifespan. You know, no one knows generally how long they're going to live. And our natural lifespan can't ever be increased, but it can be shortened. And it's just through the same things that we've been talking about. So by tuning into our positive energy and releasing those disturbing mind states, that's all it's about. So we can use purification techniques like the 4 opponent powers that I talked about previously, release all the pent-up disturbing emotions, sort out our regrets. So just to go over those 4 opponent powers, the first one is regret, and that's the most powerful. That's really you could just purify something through sincere, deep regret. Then the next one is relying on, basically realigning with your better, higher aspirations. So tuning back into like those you respect and receive guidance from, like in Buddhism it would be the Buddha Dharma Sangha. And also in regard to those whom you may have hurt. So you think of all beings within that scope and consider their welfare, wishing to have refrained from any harm towards them. And then the third one is whatever remedy, whatever virtue that you may use, whether it just be an apology or anything. There's a whole list of them in Buddhism, like specific ones. And then resolve to not create that action again. And that is a really powerful purification to do. And at the end of it, the point is to feel completely purified. And Geshe Doga, who's the resident Lama here, he's emphasised how important it is at the death time to purify in whatever way, like such as this, and then just feel totally purified as you die. Feel totally purified. That is the key. So I thought we'd do a meditation on the dying process just to think of, how all our life fear is deeply implanted in our consciousness in so many ways. It arises quite, acutely, and also on a subtle level. There's often a level of anxiety. But the root cause of all fears is grasping at ourself as inherently existent. And because of that, the greatest of all fears is the fear of annihilation. So it's really helpful to meditate on this dying process. A lot of practitioners in Buddhism do it every day, sometimes many times a day, within their practices. So let's center our awareness. No matter what is happening, whatever the circumstances, when we are about to die, we need to let go of everything. And just focus within. Nothing out there is going to help. But it can help to pacify our concerns for our loved ones if we motivate that our death be the cause of helping them to achieve their higher purpose. And then let everything drop away and focus within. And rest gently with whatever feeling is presenting. Fear, physical pain, mental confusion. Just totally surrender to it and accept it how it is, however it is. Resisting only causes anguish. But if we find some unresolved regret surfacing, purify it with the 4 opponent powers, or imagining simply apologising with regret to the person, asking forgiveness from them. And keep bringing your awareness to simply be with your awareness. A merging of that. If you start feeling panic, just look at where that panic is arising from. Out of your awareness. And follow the path back into that deep spaciousness. And your 5 senses are gradually fading away. Your sight is dissolving. You no longer have that power to see. There may be a mirage-like vision within. As the earth element dissolves, it may feel like a huge mountain or your house is collapsing on top of you. But it's just a mental experience. And then the dissolution of your sound, your sense of sound occurs with a smoke-like vision. Like a veil of pollution or smoke filling your inner awareness. The fire element, the heat, dissolves away. And you might feel as if you're being engulfed by a mountain of flames, but it's just a mental experience. And then the sense of smell dissolves with the water element. And there's an inner vision of sparks or fireflies. Against a black night. You may have the feeling of being swept away in the current of a huge river, but that's just a mental experience. And then there's the sense of taste dissolves. And there's a kind of soft flickering glow, a bit like a candle flame. It's the inner vision. As the air element dissolves. And you may feel as though you're being carried away in a storm. but it's just your mind. It's all happening in your mind. Just let it go. And then your touch sense dissolves. You may notice the appearance of white filling the sky. This is an inner vision as the space element dissolves. And now your body is completely paralyzed, it can't move. Yet your mind at this point may become very blissful and feel like it feels the whole universe, all of space. You may notice a red appearance filling the sky, like a sunset. As the conceptual mind is draining away. And then a black night sky fills your awareness. Try and maintain consciousness. And then suddenly awareness, your awareness and emptiness become one, unified, indivisible. The entire universe opens up and totally unifies with your consciousness. Spaciousness. No conceptual mind. No you separate from the universe. No self or non-self. Just the clarity and luminosity of awareness beyond concepts. This becomes the sole vehicle of knowing. Luminous awareness beyond concepts. Nothing exists separately from you. Every particle of the universe is alive with love, fluid, flowing, soft. And you are an alive particle, all seeing, all-knowing. Emptiness infusing emptiness. Bliss. The bliss of love and tranquility. Be in that. Stay in that. So to finish that meditation, we can imagine emanating that peace and tranquility and love out into the universe, and imagining all beings experiencing that, merging our love into their hearts. And then we'll leave it there. So some of that meditation, the last part, was taken from the experience of, or paraphrased, of Mingyur Rinpoche, who is a great Lama you might have heard of, who had that experience and wrote a book on it. It's a really great read. It's called In Love with the World. And this is a sort of meditation that you can do every day, where you become familiar with the process of dying. And basically, Buddhism emphasises the whole subject of death to enhance the quality of life, but also because we're then prepared at death and we feel no regrets, and we feel confident that there could be an amazing experience coming up. So hope you enjoyed that. And thanks so much for coming. It's been lovely. So next one is Mark Fernandez in January. I think it's early January it starts up. And also Damien in January. So you've got 2 nights, Mondays and Wednesdays. And we've got some more homemade biscuits, and if you want to join us in the dining room for a cuppa. So lovely to have you here, and thanks for coming. Maybe see you next year. Thanks.